All right, dads, imagine this. Let's skip ahead 20 years. The year is 2045. Your fridge knows your macros. It's ordering your groceries for you. Your car, it drives itself. Your kid has an AI tutor. You don't even have to involve yourself. AI is raising your kids. Sounds pretty good, right?
Nope.
Not at all. So, today we're going to jump into that. How do we lead our families in the future? How do we raise our kids to lead their kids? Or are we going to let AI run the show? Stick around. We'll get to it. All right, brother. Quarter one, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to talk about 20 years from now. We're in 2045. We're going to talk about the AI, artificial intelligence, dad life, what's coming. So have you ever wondered what like a normal Tuesday would look like in the future with AI running everything? Jay,
I'm a tad bit older,
you are.
so I have not jumped on the AI train.
You're not on the AI train?
I am not. I'm not saying I'm anti-AI, but I'm not for it.
That's a mouthful. Anti-AI.
Yeah.
But think about it, right?
I understand like its purposes. Like I understand where it can be positive, and I understand where it can be beneficial to the human race. However, we always take it too far.
Fair facts.
And I'm not talking like Terminator, like crazy, like end
iRobot.
of days, iRobot type of stuff. I'm talking just like you lose touch with everything. You've lost your ability to speak to somebody. You've lost your ability to do things on your own that your dad taught you.
So obviously you're not for a world where the house is actually smarter than you are.
No, not at all.
That's not in your repertoire.
It's not in my repertoire. I don't believe in conceding my basic duties for convenience because I don't think the outcome would benefit us as a family.
Well, since old man Jay doesn't seem to care about AI, we asked, believe it or not, AI what the future would look like in 2045.
Gee, let me guess what it said.
So let's just break down what new normals would look like 20 years from now. So daily routines, we're talking AI home hubs. And what that means is you wake up and everything does itself, from the temperature to cooking your breakfast,
Jetsons.
picking out your clothes, the Jetsons. That's a fair fact. Smart mirrors, which calculates your body weight and tells you what you need to do, water retention, all these things.
Which, by the way, the Jetsons dates me.
Does it though? I don't know. Jay never really reveals his age here. He does look good for his age, but I'm just saying. Parenting by algorithm. Now here's a good one. So AI tutors, right? Where you never actually have to spend any time. And let's face it. I mean, if you're like me, Bama born, Bama raised, I am college educated, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm going to even begin to understand middle school homework. It's actually harder than probably what I had in college. So you don't have to deal with that now.
Bruh. I've recently had to do fractions with my son. And I've had to Google it, and I had to say, tell me the old way of doing fractions, not the new way, because it's how they're doing it now. It's just like I don't even understand
some of the
why
new
you
things
do it.
that they do to get to where they're at. I'm like, this is way more complicated than.
But here's where I went down a rabbit hole, and I kind of understand the methodology of it now. So it's so they can prepare them for the future of algebra, calculus, so they know on both sides of the equations they have to equal out. Whereas before we were just solving to make the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. However, for old people trying to do improper fractions and mixed fractions with their 10-year-old,
it's tough. So AI, it's. What about digital babysitters? Have you seen the movie? It's not Megan, but it's the one where Megan Fox is a drone. Which, by the way, if I've got an AI babysitter that looks like Megan Fox, I may be convinced.
Terrible.
But digital babysitters, that seems appealing.
No. Who's programming it?
let's move on.
Okay.
Errands and logistics, self-driving cars. We're not far from that now. Drone deliveries, that's happening.
Yep.
Chore bots, we have RoboVac, which is pretty good, but expansive. That would make life a lot more.
I'll say I have my Pumbaa. That is my pool Roomba.
Oh, okay. I didn't know where you're going with that.
That makes cleaning the pool a lot easier. So maybe I'm teetering.
It's transitioning.
I'm not transitioning.
Family time. So VR vacations were much more affordable. You
Total
never have
Recall,
to leave.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
There it is.
Yeah. Or hang on.
What said he's pulling out of his nose? That's Total Recall, right?
Yeah, it's totally because the brain sensor that tracks everything he does.
Yeah.
He had to get that thing to go all the way up. And I remember that as a kid looking at that. I was like, oh my God, that's craziness. But
we have ADHD. It's the special effects in Total Recall that bring me
so
back.
terrible.
Oh, but I love it.
Terrible.
It's so good.
Moving on.
Here's the fact. Holograms. So we have Teams and Zoom now, but you hologram into your environment. So
that's true. Like I heard not too long ago, they did a couple concerts with hologram, like Tupac. Hologram, Michael Jackson.
AI curated game nights and adventures. I mean, all things that seem like that's not.
They're distracting you from what you need to be doing.
So the question, all right, so we talked about what's coming down the pipeline. This is just scratching the surface, but most of these things are already here in their infancy. And if you keep up with AI at all, you know how quickly it is evolving. Old man Jay, not keeping up with it, so he doesn't know. But it is evolving at the speed of light almost. But here we are. So kind of revealed the future for you. We're probably way off here. But if AI handled your daily grind, what would you do with your free time?
Oh, that's a hard one. Does AI do my yard work?
I think we live in a world where AI is going to do your yard work. Chore bots.
AI is not going to be able to weed eat and get the right line. There's no way.
What are we talking? Augusta
Because a Roomba can't pick up most of the dirt that it's supposed
in 2025.
It gets caught under a chair. Fooled. Completely trapped. So and even my pool Roomba, when I go to pick it out, sometimes it dumps everything that it picked up. So there's failures.
There's definitely failures.
So I don't think the AI weed eater is going to be able to pass my HOA requirement.
The AI HOA Karens.
Monitor the size. We've devolved a little bit, but
Are we going to bring back Jayco to get after the HOA Karens?
I'm looking for 2 beers right now. But honestly, I think in my free time, because it's always a project. It doesn't matter as a dad. There is a project that's waiting on you. So the problem is if your AI is doing all your projects too, what do you do? So you spend the time with your children, right? You develop them. Or you spend the time with your wife, right?
Well, in theory,
is AI doing that too, though?
That's the problem.
Too far.
So we'll move on to the next question. So now
No, you didn't answer it.
Well, I think the whole thing to think here about is the concept of more time, right? We've got the time that we've got, right? And so, yes, I am a user of AI now, and it frees up a lot of time. But what am I actually doing with that time? In our minds, I think we have these grand, ideas that we're going to change the world and we're going to set a routine. But I think if I'm being honest, I probably waste the time that I have. Or
it's just unproductive time.
I do more. It allows me to actually do more work. And then you're at a pace that you can't keep up at.
You can't continue to work that pace.
Right.
Or burn yourself out.
You've mentally exhausted yourself and your adrenal glands are shut down. And so now you're just distracting yourself with video games or social media.
Exactly.
So you're not really investing that time back into people that really need it. Facts.
I believe you've proven my point.
All right, we'll end the episode right now.
All
but,
right, thanks for coming out, everybody.
But we talked about AI tutoring, and we talked about AI into your kids. You actually even mentioned AI with your wife.
Yep.
But would you trust AI with your kids? Like now, again, not AI today, but now a more evolved AI that is
programmed correctly with non-bias towards anything.
Well, I'm not saying it's not biased. I mean, I think anything's on the table, because you got to assume that there's going to be certain regulators with AI. Like,
so
you're
can I program in like this is how I want?
I think you're going to have some options, but do you trust it? One, and then two, you're probably going to have some type of wearable, because the AI that's interacting with you is probably going to want to know your biometrics.
Yeah.
How you're feeling, your heart rate, your all these things, because in the future, I'm assuming AI is going to, I can see into the future, but I'm assuming it's going to adapt. And that's the whole grand gesture here. It's tailor made.
Exactly, but it continues
it's going to tailor made things specific to like your child's learning habits. So if they're at a certain area or that picks up that they're not learning proficiently in this, it's probably going to give you more help there. Here. That's in good news theory. That's probably what
and that's
actually they're going to sell you on.
And honestly, that's probably a good thing, because I wasn't meant to be a teacher. If I was a teacher, like, those are special people. I'm not one of them. I don't have the patience for it. I don't. So
it's tough,
especially with the new way of everything.
You should see him coach.
A little aggressive. See you next year, Buckhorn.
Get ready.
I'm just not a teacher. And maybe that does help. Maybe that does get that bridge across that I can't explain to them. Maybe it does.
They're going to sell it on the good things.
There's your problem, though.
And we'll talk about the bad things in the next quarter. But at face value,
Old Man Jay,
if you trust it, Old Man Jay's out. He's done. But if you trust it, I think there is benefit, because let's be honest, AI in terms of just like facts and figures, it's going to outperform
any human,
especially me, on teaching them math or proper English, and it's going to be more intuitive. So I'm not saying I trust the technology, but I do think in terms of a learning interaction, it's probably going to be a pretty...
And I agree. It'll pick up to like where their strengths and weaknesses are and focus more on their weaknesses, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
However, it depends on what programs it.
There we go. We'll pick up with that in quarter two. So the other part of this is we talked about the smart home, but how much smarter do we actually want everything that we involve ourselves in to actually be?
Don't need my refrigerator telling me you already had 2 beers tonight.
You don't need your fridge keeping tabs on the macros.
So you know you already had dessert. I don't know if you need another dessert.
The last thing you need is your refrigerator judging you.
Yeah, I already have a wife that does that.
He said it, not me.
Erase that.
Edit button on this thing.
Post.
Fix that in post. But I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, you got to think your mattress is going to be smart. So
they already have those.
I don't need judgment in the bedroom.
It's an air.
More judgment in the bedroom.
If it becomes a then I think that's where you're worried about it, because you're like, ain't seen you in a while. Nobody likes you.
I saw this meme the other day. It was actually a real, when I was distracting myself with all the time.
Making good use of your time because of AI.
That I've been saving from AI. And I think it was a skit, but the guy says, hey, he's driving a Tesla, self-driving car. He says, take me to somewhere I've never been, and takes him to the gym. That's like,
I love it.
Wow. The judgment here.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, it's pretty funny. I got a good laugh at it. But we're going to move on to quarter two here. But here's the kicker. So when AI does the heavy lifting, are we still the ones leading our families, or are we just along for the ride? So now we're going to talk about the dark side of AI in Q2. So we're going to take a break. Get right back. All right. Welcome back to quarter two. So now we're going to talk about the hidden dangers of AI. Remember, it's 2045. And is AI removing the father from fatherhood? So we talked about what life's going to be like. All these grand things that make life seem really efficient, like our kids or our kids' kids, which is going to be in 2045.
Yeah, we won't be there.
They're going to be.
At least I won't.
Well, you've got a lot. You've got a lot going on. CTE is going to get me if we're honest.
Yeah.
But so if convenience is king, right? Convenience is king until it quietly takes your crown. What happens when tech starts doing the parenting for us? So I got a funny story here.
Go.
And it has nothing to do with AI, but it's this whole quiet kind of thing working in the background that eventually takes over without you realizing it. And then it's too late. So early in my professional career, had a great boss at the time, but we did things kind of old school, right? Like our methodology was very process oriented. It was very by the book. It was a really great process. But just like we're having this conversation today, everybody's tempted by the new. Everybody's tempted by the cutting edge. And how are we getting after new tech? And we didn't really do that very well in the companies that, in the offerings that we did. We did the good things very well. That was our strategy.
People.
Yeah. And so our boss was like, well, you know what? We'll partner with this company that does the new things very well, and we'll continue to do the things that we do very well, and it's a perfect marriage.
Analog,
digital. And so
they go together so well.
Yeah. So that seemed at surface level very good. So we would go to meetings, we'd present to the client, they would come in, and then they would be very persuasive and tech savvy, and they would close the show with oohs and ahs.
Yeah, they would.
I quickly saw this
out nerd you.
They would out nerd us. I quickly saw this was not going to play out well.
Yeah,
and it all came to a climax. And these guys were in the DC area, and they like to party, they like to wine and dine. They had a lot of money, and we went out on their 95, 100-foot yachts.
Good Lord.
Each one of them had yachts, and it all had to be bigger than the other. We were actually in Annapolis, and they took us out to an island where we got fat on crab cakes, and they fed us they gave us beverages, and we had the time of our life. We went swimming.
Yeah.
We did everything. It was like,
because you're people.
This is the greatest day. Who wouldn't love to do business this way?
And we've got
played cards.
We've got the dirts working.
We may have taken some shots of apple juice in the back.
Yeah.
Something.
Good.
Had a great day. A great day. We get back to port, and they fire us
on spot.
On the spot. And it was like, hey, we just wanted you guys to have the greatest time. Last day working with
very
us.
Courteous of them,
right? Because we're going to go with these other guys, not because of anything that you did, but these guys
that you hired that actually do everything.
Yeah, we don't need to pay both of you. And so the whole moral of that story, which is you let the enemy in the back, they're essentially going to take over, right?
Exactly.
And you feel like things are going well, but it's too late.
What's your use?
What's your use? Right? So here we are, we're setting the stage with AI, kind of very similar thing, right? Now we're looking at fatherhood and parenting. What happens when AI takes your crown?
Men are very responsible, like responsibility-driven people.
Correct.
Right? So like, this is the way I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be a provider. I'm supposed to also be disciplinarian. I'm supposed to know how to work every audio video in the house. I'm supposed to know how to do all the yard work. I know how to fix a pool. I know how to do plumbing. I know how to do everything. That's your worth. That's as a man. You have to be able to provide those things. Now that AI takes over, what worth do you bring to the table?
So we're going to call that the slow fade, right? So you initially you're like, man, I don't have the mental energy for it. Long day at work, tired. It's things I'd like to do. I'm just going to let AI raise the kids tonight, which is not much different than the iPad, right?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So it's like, I'm just going to let them give it a night. And then it becomes 2 nights. Then it becomes 3 nights. Now it's become every night. So you don't know what AI is teaching your kids or disciplining them.
It's already doing it with algorithms and YouTube.
Correct. It's already doing it. Now it's even more advanced and evolved. And now anything that old dad's going to say, well, Dad, you're not as smart as the computer. Facts.
It's not true.
Well, I'll beat that computer's ass.
No. Physically, I believe I could win. You put a fraction in front of me, I want to have a struggle.
Yeah, don't make me out math it, because the math ain't gonna add up for me.
Ooh, again, look at you with the dad joke.
We'll blame it on CTE.
It's not gonna add up to me. That's
we'll blame it on CTE.
That's solid.
Distraction Nation talked about it. We talked about what all we would do with the free time, but the reality is we're either gonna work more, we're gonna doom scroll, or we're gonna
doom scroll. That's a good one.
Do some mindless entertainment.
It's video games. Trying to get to the end of it.
Escapism. And by then AI escapism is probably going to be a whole
light years ahead.
Whole other
what
world.
It is now.
What's that new? Have you seen that new movie with Chris Pratt and was it Millie Bobby Brown or what's her name? The Stranger Things girl.
I might be too old.
It was just brand new. Came out on Netflix. But anyways, they put on this like headset and then they go into this augmented reality, and then that's where people spend all their time. And so in IRL, in real life, they're just fat turds that are atrophying. But in their virtual metaverse,
they're phenomenal.
Stud life.
Yeah.
The internet.
They've done this multiple times.
We're getting to the crust of internet muscles. Can't wait till we don't even have to work out, and then we're not even judged on what we look like.
The amount of effort
in real life
to look like that.
How much are you getting in Bitcoin to position yourself in your virtual avatar? Anyways, we'll keep moving on here. Probably the biggest thing is the manipulation factor. Social media already is manipulating us in ways and generations that we can't even begin to imagine. Deep fakes are...
You've seen, how many reels have you seen where somebody's saying something you think is them?
I tell you, if they didn't put this was a parody, I would not know that it was.
It looks real.
It looks, and this is just in the infancy of all these things.
This is the beginning.
And the algorithms, it's.
They shot.
I don't know, men. This because we're geared to men. If you haven't already figured it out, the algorithm weights towards, I don't know, things that are probably not good for you. Let's just put it that way.
It's true.
So, women in scandalous clothing, all the world of sin. Like all you got to do is click on one, you're going to get it 15 times over. You click on anything that's good, you're not going to get that.
That doesn't go in your algorithm.
They're just waiting on you to.
And for whatever reason, everything in my For You is hair loss, member doesn't work, testosterone loss, liver, like everything is just feeding into me, and
they're hitting everybody with that.
God forbid you look for a garden shed.
You're gonna hit with a garden shed or anything fitness these days.
Oh yeah.
Boom. Yeah. So again, we don't have to explain it. You guys are living it.
Yeah.
You know
your phone is listening to you.
Your phone is listening to you right now. I'm glad you're along for the ride.
What we're saying is going to go in your.
You probably won't even see this because we're preventing you from actually engaging in this, and we're making you critical think. However, that is going to be a huge problem. There used to be a day where you had to do I remember growing up, my dad would say, I would ask him a question. He's like, well, go research it. And I actually had to research it.
Yeah.
I had to go read books.
With a book.
And I guess somebody can say, if you're looking at it with an encyclopedia, you're just really relying on the information that they provided.
Exactly. So you may be limited on the information.
Yeah.
And that may have been programmed in a way to where the author wanted you to think. So it's same thing with AI. It's programmed to make you think a certain way. Same with all my Britannica books. If it was in there, if I could remember how to spell it and I could get to the thing, I mean, that was the limited amount of information you had on it.
I mean, it's when we talk about critical thinking, that's, I'll be honest with you, old school Alabama brain here. I probably didn't develop critical thinking skills until my professional life. And I mean, I took everything at face value, poured
Yeah.
deeply into it, invested into it,
Well,
naive, innocent, whatever. It's not that I didn't challenge it, I didn't question it, but I felt, at least growing up, I didn't have to. But now, especially if we're looking into 2045, like
now I feel like you got to think about it. Like, why is this driving me to feel this way?
why? Yeah, because there's more information than there's ever been before, but now there's somebody guiding you the information. And even if they're sourcing the information, like that's straight up. If an AI isn't sourcing information, I don't trust it. If it sources it, at least I can check it out and then be like,
That's true.
yeah, I don't know.
Otherwise, it's somebody telling you how
Yeah,
to feel.
yeah. But our kids, I don't know. I don't know that they know that. They're going to take it
Yeah,
at face value
they're
because they've
just
never known anything. Just
scrolling.
scroll. So I know, Jay, your thoughts on AI, because you use it probably zero,
You're correct.
but you're probably using it more than you realize
It's
because
true.
it's taken over. But like, what's the, if you know, like what's probably the scariest moment AI has impacted your family, or is the scariest moment that you don't even realize AI is having an impact right now?
Mine's more of a just listening, and then magically that ad comes up. I mean, honestly, I haven't had AI, or sorry, I haven't had AI really like impact my family. More, it's just all of a sudden I get ads on stuff that I was talking about or something like that. I think if you don't use it, then really it doesn't impact you that much. I think you have to actually try. But obviously, every social media platform and everything on your phone is using it. So it is reading you, it is giving you what it thinks it's been programmed to
Yeah.
tell you you want. So, I mean, that's my biggest red flag of it is if I have a conversation about hair loss, now all of a sudden everything in my feed is hair loss. And
Speaking of
other,
hair loss, why has he got to bring that up? Man,
it was just a simple thing that people could relate to. It wasn't a personal attack.
felt
I think
felt that way.
anyway.
Felt that way.
I think more seriously, I believe like I'm more worried about my children and what they use, how they use it. Eventually, how many college students or high school students don't use it to get through school? I don't want a chat GPT doctor. I don't. So there's nobody that can do the surgery that didn't use AI for to get through school.
So, interesting article. I don't know if you read it, but Bill Gates recently
Mm.
came out, and you got to give the guy credit. Microsoft, whatever. I mean, you don't have, I don't, whatever your thoughts are on him. However, he envisions a world which is not even in 2045, maybe in the next 10 years, where AI has gotten so efficient and so involved that the need for work as we know it doesn't even exist, because we've rendered ourselves pretty much useless. And based off of the profit that AI is able to produce, we live off now of shared profits from AI.
Communism.
Exactly. And that's the world we
Our whole
we live in. But to your point about doctors,
no.
right? I used to think that like doctors, lawyers, all these professions were AI proof.
No.
But those seem to be the ones that
Show me
would go
any
away,
no.
according to Bill Gates.
It doesn't matter what it is. Somebody will figure out a way to find the shortcut. I don't care. I've worked with Marines long enough, and the easiest way to get something done is to give it to a Lance Corporal, an E3, because he will find, or she will find, the easiest way to do it with the minimal amount of work. Bar none, hands down. And you can take notes from it, or you can try to fight it, but hey, I need this done, and just watch. And it was like, They'll be efficient.
Well, it sounds like my kids. Raising my kids. Well, we're going to move on to Q3, but as we move on, if AI is taking over the basics, what's left that only dad can teach, right? So, how are we going to teach our kids to teach their kids about skills that no AI machine can ever replace? Talk about that next. So, we're back in Q3. This is what AI can't replace and why dads matter more than ever. So, here's the good news: robots, artificial intelligence can't do everything.
Nope.
So, what can we do as dads right now to teach our kids when they raise their kids that is AI proof? So, what are you passing down here, Jay?
Again, what I'll go with is an AI is meant to succeed, correct?
You saying it? Is it meant to succeed?
It's meant to.
Oh, yeah.
However, the most of the lessons I've learned are either from my failure or from my father's failure. So if something is designed to succeed, then how do you learn a new lesson?
That's a deep thought. Explain it.
It is. Like I have failed many times in my life, had to pick myself up and became stronger because of it. If I have an AI telling me what to do and I don't fail, pick myself up and I'm stronger because of it, am I the same person? Am I as strong as I would have been?
So, you're saying if you never fail, you can never learn.
Grow, learn.
Or if you never, let's put it this way, if
You don't have the ability to fail because AI is helping you.
even though it does fail, it doesn't acknowledge failure.
Well, it does.
Let's position it that way.
But when you're transitioning from writing an essay to being a father, there is a certain amount of failure. And eventually you get to a point where, like, I've made a mistake. I have to grow from this. There's not an AI that can teach you that. There's a father. And as far as I know, in my entire life, the only person in the world that wanted me to do better than him was my father. Everyone else had wanted the best for me, but they weren't 100%. Like, I want you to do better than me. A father wants his children to exceed everything he's ever done. At least a good one, that is.
Yeah.
An AI can't do that.
Yeah. Raise the bar. How can you make this generation better than the previous?
I want my kids to do so much better than I did. I want them to go, yeah, he struggled. Yeah, he did his best, but look where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look at with fondness, not with any kind of negativity like, you did better than I did. No.
Unequivocally unselfish.
Just love for their succession. Their immense love for their succeeding in life, even further than I did.
And well, I think
that's how you succeed as a parent, right?
What? And let's not underestimate the lessons that our children learn from our mistakes, whether we teach them or not.
True.
Right? Because there's a lot of things that I know you do, I know I do, that our parents did that you're like, I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. Right? That's not how I want to do things. Right?
Exactly.
So there's, we'll call it unintentional lessons being taught.
Agreed.
But then there's also those intentional lessons, which what you're getting to, which come from, we'll call it lived experiences, which AI cannot do.
Emotional.
Which is the reason that storytelling is so fascinating these days, because it takes people to another time, helps people kind of like be in their shoes for a moment.
AI can't look at my children like at their first heartbreak and explain to them why it hurts so much and then why you can grow from it and how it makes you stronger or how it defines who you are later on in life. Like an AI can't do that because it can't. You can program it to say things and mimic responses that a person would, but an AI can't read a person and deliver the emotional response that it needs to.
Yeah. The things my dad's always said, he'd be like, probably screwed up here, probably screwed up here, probably screwed up here, but did you know that you were loved? I was like, yeah.
Every day.
Every day. He's like, well then, if you say that, then I may have made a lot of mistakes, but I felt like that's going to be okay. We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
If you knew that you were loved, because that's, again, AI can't figure that out. So
Nope.
if your children don't know that they're loved, or they don't know how to express love
and emotion,
then that's something that you need to pour into right now, because that's something that AI can't replace. It can describe the feel, like all these things in a definition, but it
can't do it.
Can't spark that feeling.
It can't know when your child just needs a hug.
Yeah. It can't show up, right? It can't show up at a football game. It can't show up at a important school event. It can't show up to the important things that...
And it's affecting nothing, just being there.
Right? That sounds so simple, right? And it is simple, but a lot of us aren't doing it.
To be honest, not even AI talk. There's parents, dads need to show up.
Just
be present.
Yeah. We feel like we have to do all these things.
Gotta work. I can't take off work.
I've got to teach them all these lessons. I've got to structure them a workout plan. I got to structure them a nutrition plan. I got to structure them a academic plan. I got to blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you, first off and foremost, if you do that, you will fail as a father. Marinovich Project, you've seen it? Watch it if you haven't, because that's going to be your fate. But there is power in just the presence.
Mm-hmm. The amount of times that it didn't want to have me interfere or help him with the project or do anything. My children, just be there. No input. I want you to see what I've done. That's it.
So if we keep showing up, regardless of what an AI is going to teach us, because our kids are going to have events, but they're still going to need the fatherly presence. So if you just show up, you're winning the battle.
Yep.
You're winning the battle. And that had to be 2045. That's now.
Today.
And showing up allows the ability to have these conversations where you can teach some things.
Impart some knowledge.
Learn. Ethics and
morals. Have them accept it.
Yeah.
Because if you're not present, if you don't show up to the little things, then why should they listen to the big things you're trying to teach?
Character. AI is not going to have character. So you can't teach character. You can read what character is on the screen.
But I'm going to say, here we are in third quarter. You're shifting over to a little more anti-AI. You're going with the old guy. I'm
an old guy at heart.
Well, you did just crest a boundary.
You got me in my feels, man. Now you got me all nostalgic, old school.
Well, I mean, bottom line, I really and truly believe that there's no substitute for presence of a father. There's none. And I remember when I finally learned that my dad wasn't Superman and he wasn't invulnerable and he had feelings and I remember that feeling, but it was he's not Superman. And then it was, oh, I didn't realize how much he did for me. That was a cost to him emotionally, time, physically, everything he did to sacrifice everything just to make me smile or make sure I had what I needed. That's gigantic. And when you get to that point in your life to where you're like, I never, because, animosity happens when you're adolescent. You go against your father, you go against your mother. And then you realize that they were doing everything in their power to make you a better person. And you're like, I didn't realize how much success I have because of their sacrifice.
Yeah.
And it's
as you grow older
immense.
and have adult problems,
then you're like, I know what they were going through, right?
I understand what they were juggling as they were trying to do this. So
now I know why they yelled at me.
It clicks. It clicks. And we talk about this presence, but presence creates opportunity, which creates if you're not spending time intentionally and getting outside and experience IRL, that's in real life, all of that sparks creativity. It sparks imagination. It sparks just the ability to think outside what somebody's telling you to do. And the more you can just create those experiences, even if you don't have to teach them, right? Like there's this whole, I've got to know everything to pass down. That passes through by just showing up.
It does.
Facts.
I mean, your actions actually probably teach more lessons than what you speak. What you do, your daily wake up, your daily grind, your work, you come home, you make time, let's go to the football. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's family dinner. Let's sit down together. It's your actions, but and an AI can't do that. Speak volumes as far as how important they are to your life and how you are impactful in theirs.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Like we talk this, it seems easy. It seems like things that would just naturally, organically
Nothing
happen.
is easy.
But they don't,
Yeah.
right? Because now we're not describing the whole other side, which is everything that's competing for your attention. So how can you be intentional? What is the strategy now that you can set in place for your kids that they can remember and say, hey, my dad was very intentional with me in these things, and I want to be intentional in these things with my kids so they can be intentional with their kids and pass it down the line.
I've evolved with my children's interest. My older kids, at one point in time, I mean, every kid goes through their dinosaur, this and that phase. Minecraft, and I have to pretend like I understand Minecraft or care that they've spent hours creating this palace in imaginary world. But like my youngest, it was dinosaurs, then it was Pokemon. Now, currently, it's NFL trading cards and anything autographed. And I have everything from when I was a kid, but I didn't want to get back into this. Like I didn't care about it, but again, showing interest in their interest. If he wants to play basketball and he goes, you want to go outside and play basketball? Go. If you want to throw the football, just go. We play ping pong, whatever he asks. I think I adjust whatever my day is. And granted, this a lot has to do with being a little older and a little more mature and making yourself not the focal point. When I was younger, I, working 12 hours a day, and I come home and my older kids would need something. I probably prioritized myself because I was immature myself. But as I've matured, I've realized that they're way more important than whatever I have going on in my life. So making your children the priority is probably the best thing you could do.
Yeah.
And realizing that you're not number one.
And I would probably be worried if, like, my kids and my son's evolution of their interests, right, with all the technology that we have today and all the exposure of all the information that they can go easily find, but they're the same evolution of the same interests that I had when I was a kid.
Same.
Trucks, dinosaurs, skeletons that evolves into sports, basketball,
same,
football,
same,
baseball, into girls, cars. Like it's the same evolution. They just have more exposure to different content. And it's different, and they can be exposed to a lot of things, but in a lot of ways, like it's kind of our human nature to
It is differences from when we grew up, though. There were no answers other than what your parents gave you or somebody's older brother. Now
they can
there
question
there
that.
are answers, and I think we've given ourselves too much information because now there's also incorrect answers. So it could be the most basic thing, and they look it up, and there's 3 different videos that tell 3 different stories of that answer. Whereas we can regulate what is the truth and what's appropriate for their age or development time frame. And the internet or AI is not going to do that.
That's true. And there's a lot of power, and I'm not saying just do everything that makes you feel good, right? But there is a lot of power in what do you how which one do you once you get path ethically, moral, right and wrong, but then like which path do you most agree with, and what do you most believe in, and what most meets your morals, right? I think now that gives them ability to critical
So,
think, right? You just don't want them to free fall, right? And lead whatever they're, but if they're thinking through several options and then they're piecing the information and taking the best of all and putting together their own conclusions. And then us as fathers come in as lived experience, wisdom being the key ingredient that we pass on. Yes, you can do those things, but let's consider these things and then help them make their decision. I think that's a valuable piece.
I think it is. I think there probably is a father out there that believes in AI and that is a developer of AI and that believes that he can make it to where it's the end all be all.
Yeah, for sure.
But if he can figure out how to program it and itemize it per person, because you are you, and you can't. I couldn't program a AI to get into your psyche and tell you what you needed to hear, pick you up when you're down, teach you when you need to learn, and then also grasp and understand when you needed a little something extra. You're an individual. That's the problem.
Yeah.
The AI is not an individual.
No.
It's a set of ones and zeros.
Well said. So let's move on here. So we talked about things that we can install. So how do we put this in action? Not today or not 20 years from now, but starting today. So let's get tactical. So we're going to take a break. We'll go to Q4. All right. So Q4, we're going to recap and then we're going to put together the future proof dad action plan. So we've seen the future. It's coming fast. Some may say it's scary. Some may welcome it. But here's the mission. Dads, let's not get replaced. Let's get sharper. Let's, like we said, when the father leads, the family wins. So, talked about this. Tech is a tool, it's not a replacement. Can't use it as a babysitter. We can't use it as an excuse to not be present. We can all agree that we need to show up. So, we hear this all the time, set boundaries for the tech and the AI. But, Jay, what does that look like for you?
It's a punishment. Because when you take those things away, you set a certain time, then they feel like you're taking away from them. At the same time, we've all used it as a crutch. I need to get something done. I need to get dinner made. I have to work a little more. I have to get this done. Here, watch your iPad. So it turns into a punishment. When you can translate or like set an end state for the technology, iPad, phone, video games, whatever, and go, now we're going to go outside and throw the football. We're going to play basketball. We're going to go on a walk, hike, whatever. Kid's not athletic or whatever. It doesn't matter. You're not athletic. It doesn't matter. Go outside, see something, do something. Go to a museum and read something there. It's way different than seeing it on a screen. I fully believe that a break needs to happen because a lot of schools now are okay. I need you to complete this much and I ready, so you have this many hours, and then we're going to do our test on this computer, and then we're going to do this on the. I mean, if you look at how our kids are being taught, a lot of it is transitioning to computer based and
algorithms. Yeah.
So when they come home and immediately get on, whether it is to do homework or for recreation, then it's computer and screen until bedtime. So now, from breakfast to dinner, we've seen a screen, whether it been educational or not, and we have to. Unfortunately, like we're in the position where we force outside.
That's facts. Complete random fact. I read something the other day that in World War II, the grenade was shaped like a baseball
M79.
because every kid knew how to throw a baseball.
Yep. M79. That's the reason why it was shaped that way.
Facts.
Fragmentation grenade.
How many kids know how to throw a baseball today? Facts. We don't have to answer that question. You know the answer.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
They developed that whole thing
based off a recreational
based
outside
on childhood.
Right. Now they're designing it off of a space bar. I don't know.
Yeah,
a mouse click, a video game
I
controller.
don't think that'd work.
Anyways.
Actually,
it's not far off.
Some of the targeting and shooting systems are based off of an Xbox controller.
Yeah.
That one submarine didn't do well, but
lessons learned.
Some gun systems on aircraft are based off of controllers because they know that the vast majority of experience and the familiarity with video game controllers makes it easier for them to utilize it. So you're not far off.
That's where we're at. But it's understanding to know the difference between IRL and VR. Another one, make critical thinking and conversations a habit. I think that's a very important one. It's just to, if we lose the ability to have a conversation with our children, then our kids will also lose that ability. And it's not pressing and it's not digging deep, but there will be times where real life experiences will come through and storytelling will come through that will reveal life lessons that will be missed that they cannot learn through
True
AI.
So every day when we pick up our son, we ask him, what was your highlight of the day and what was your low point of the day? And every time it's like but he has to think and effectively communicate what his high point was and what his low point was. And we do that every day for a reason, is to get him used to communicating with people in a somewhat professional manner to his parents. But in addition, like if we go out to eat, I refuse to order for him. Like, you have to order your own food.
That's
if
good.
you want it. And if you want it a certain way, because every kid's picky,
right,
then you have to be able to communicate that. And initially, like when he was 7, we had to walk it through it. But now that he's 10, like if you want it a certain way, order it. You have to learn how to interact with people. You have to learn how to ask what you want. You have to learn how to be polite, professional. And I think those are huge. Huge. Again, in the development of social skills. Tell me about your high points, your low points. Ask a person what you want. You can't look at a screen. You can't pick it off this. You can't touch screen it. You have to ask and tell a person what you want.
That's good. That's good. How to communicate. Lost art. Lost skill. So way back when, in the beginning of this podcast, we talked about the kind of experience of if you were going to create like a tech-free day, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've actually got the book here, Elimination of Hurry. It's a good book. I would recommend you read it. But it takes about taking a break from the life that we know as today and getting back to a completely, just for a moment in time, moment of your week, tech-free, no notification, no feeling like you've got to respond to something or being distracted all day. And it forces you to actually create family time. Hard part is, I read the book, I did it once. That was like the greatest day that we've had as a family. My kids still bring it up. The problem is, I've done it once.
Yeah, I have not tried it. I think it would be.
It's tough. It's
That'd be
tough.
really difficult.
It's really difficult, but it's rewarding. And the whole point I'm making is think about the times, which are very rare these days, when you've had that day where your day was just so filled with enjoyment of being present in the moment that you get to the end of the day and 12 hours has gone by and you didn't even need your phone nor want your phone. And then you finally look at your phone and you're like, man, I didn't need this all day. Right. But that's not our normal. Like the first thing we do when we get out of bed, regardless of whether we're trying to be disciplined or not, is we grab our phone.
Well, that's my alarm.
It starts that way.
First thing.
And then it goes to Instagram while you're taking a dump. And then it goes to.
It's like you know me.
It's like we're not the same people. But it's that it gets your hooks in you, man. And I'm not here to like preach on like you shouldn't do this. I mean, we're all grown people. Do your own thing. But there is value in doing that. It's hard. It's just hard.
It's more of a. I think it's more of a moderation.
Yeah.
Knowing when to put it down.
And we lose that ability if we don't know. If we're always consumed, then we don't know what moderation is.
Exactly.
So it's taking a break to enjoy it. You can create your own schedule, maybe once every 2 years that you do it, but try it. I mean, there is value in it.
I'll give it a shot.
At least remember the experiences where you didn't have to look at your phone and how much you enjoyed it.
Well, I remember how much fun I had as a kid.
Right.
We had nothing.
Right.
A blast. But then again, we also broke a lot of stuff.
There's value in that, though. Because now that leads to stories and life lessons.
Those stories.
Facts. So, I guess what we're challenging you guys here too is that think of things, right? Like if you just show up, right? We can agree. Yep. Showing up is the battle, right? Yep. That's something that AI can't ever replace. But if you quit showing up, and if you're not intentional, you could lose your family. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. I mean, it's more hard now than ever.
You're less of an integral part of it. You're a passenger on the bus. You're no longer driving it.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to always be the one that the good captain that's steering the ship in the right direction. And I truly believe that if you're not present, if you don't take an active role, then later on in life, you do the woulda, shoulda, coulda, wish I woulda. And it's too late then.
Yeah, we go back to the story. You lose the whole business because what felt easy at the time was the takeover.
Yep.
And then it's too late to do anything about it.
As it turns out, other people will work.
Other people will come in and take over, artificial or not. So, hey, we've enjoyed the time today. Remember, when the father leads, the family wins. Until next time, we're out. Peace.